you liked what I'm setting Sway up with.
What we got?
Talking about your sentimental nature last night. How are you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Are we on?
Yeah,
I don't
of
know why I
course.
keep asking that.
Yeah.
Who we got? Who's on?
None. You and I. I mean, I don't know if anyone else is coming on or not. Have you even heard from Patrick today? I haven't heard from him.
I don't know. No, I don't know.
I mean,
I'm just pumped.
I know he's jazzed up about these fights, so he's probably.
I'm really pumped. I mean, I've heard, it's a stinker of an undercard and everything, which sucks. But I don't know. I'm excited. I'm really excited because everybody's so split. I mean, I have my opinion. I think it's going to be just a wash. Canelo is going to just walk through him, I think. But the fans,
everybody's sort of saying that. Everyone's saying that.
I don't know. I've heard a lot of people that are not. I mean, they know what they're talking about. I've heard a decent amount of people that have talked about Caleb outpointing him. I mean, it kind of gets like, what are you seeing that I'm not seeing?
It's something that I'm not seeing either. I've been looking heavily into the maturing of Canelo. That's not the same fighter that he was 15 fights ago. I mean, he's his timing, his head movement, his everything is just so much better. He's so sharp now as a fighter. You actually saw it when they got in their fisticuffs at the face-off that Showtime fucked up.
We overtalk, we over stress the term levels. There's levels to this shit. Yeah, there is. I don't think everybody has the perfect definition of what those levels are, but there is, when you get up to Canelo, you're in a different stratosphere than the next level down. When you're a Ray Leonard, Thomas Hearns, Roberto Duran, which I have to compare, if of today's version of fighters, he's right there. He's left, he's in another stratosphere.
I mean, do you ever go back and say how close Ray Leonard was to not being one of the greats? Because Hearns had him, obviously in that first fight. Hearns, hung out and started fighting round 14, 15 in a, what was it? Was it 14? Was it the 15th? Might have been the 15th.
I think it was the 14th.
I think it was the 14th. I think it was the 14th.
And he threw like somewhere like 60 or 70 unanswered shots. It was ridiculous. He dug down so deep in that fight.
Yeah, I don't know how he even found that, but I mean, Hearns, the announcer in that fight was so good. He actually saw Hearns' legs were going a couple rounds before. Yeah. But that fight, Hearns had him through and through. And in the second fight, Hearns won that fight and probably got robbed. And I think Leonard agrees, and I think Hearns agrees, and that's fine. But that would have been, imagine if those two fights had gone Hearns, how differently we'd be telling the story. That's how close history is to changing, dramatically. Tommy Hearns, the one we talked about, is the best.
I mean, universe. I don't know. I think it's a pretty heavy opinion that Ray was better than Hearns, but I think it's razor thin.
You and I were fighting the other day over text. Remember, we were fighting about criminal behavior.
I don't know what you're talking about.
We were fighting about. Can you
hear me?
I can hear you perfectly. But,
okay.
But yeah, we were talking about Crawford Porter and I'm sorry, not Crawford Porter. I'm sorry, we weren't talking about Crawford Porter. We were talking about the cancel fight. So, there have been a couple fights that have been canceled recently, and one of them was canceled for criminal behavior. And let's see, which one was that? Oh,
What are you talking about?
Davis Romero. Yeah. Yeah. So Tank. Yeah, Tank and Romero. So Romero is now out because he apparently groped a woman, and the fight was off. And I made the case of, well, fuck that, let him fight and let him have his day in court, and see what happens in court before you pull the fight. Because allegations are easy, the facts are presented in court. Why the fuck are you going to pull out because of an allegation? It has to be an arrest. If you get arrested for murder and they feel
it's just an allegation.
Yeah, it's an allegation. He hadn't even been fucking arrested yet. Why would you pull the fucking fight?
Okay.
I mean, every fighter, every fighter, but there's a ton of fighters that have criminal records. I mean, from Tyson, Ali to I mean, everybody. It's like a who of fighters have criminal records.
Yeah.
This is an allegation. I mean, Tyson went to jail for basically a rape charge, and who knows what really happened.
Maybe he's mentally wrecked. Maybe he's that fragile, and he's falling apart.
Well, I think it's for the Me Too movement. I mean,
I've seen guys bailed out. I'm not going to say names because I'm not sure if they want me to, but I've seen more than one guys that have been bailed out the night before the fight and fight. Now they still have all, court and everything pending, but it's just, I don't know. I think it depends on the time and the individual.
Yeah. I mean, that fight, Tank was a huge favorite in that fight. And the buildup was great because Tank mocking him for wearing that fucking shaggy jacket.
And keep in mind, I'm coming from a fighter's perspective. I don't even know. Maybe he didn't even have a say in it. He maybe they pulled it for some reason. So I'm just talking about, maybe the mentality of a fighter.
It's just odd to me that when you're talking about, if you want to bring in, fighting, people that are getting ready to have combat, you should have a pretty high threshold to be able to yank a fight right before a fight. And that threshold should be, you're in prison. You know what I mean? Like you're actually in fucking prison.
Yeah.
That should be it. An allegation. I mean, even if, I was being a little bit facetious, but I was like, I don't care if I'm watching a fucking mass murderer. I just want to see a fight. These are not role models, fighters.
But you're talking about what something should be. What something is different. Not everybody's an animal. I wasn't. I was a tough ass fighter, and I had as much heart as anybody.
Yeah.
But I wasn't an animal. I was not a killer. All right. And a lot of guys aren't. A lot of guys they're in it for the money, or they're in it for the fame, or they're in it for whatever wrong reasons. And they react accordingly.
I think there's a ton of people that take fights in even major events that have no real intention of winning. They're just excited to get that $300,000 payday. It's their biggest payday they've ever had.
Absolutely.
I was watching Floyd Mayweather, and he said that even to this day, the most exciting moment he's ever had was getting his first $100,000 check. He goes, even to this day, he goes, you start getting after that, you get, 10 million, 100 million. But that first $100,000 check, I'd never see. He just goes, I've never seen money like that. That feeling, I'll never forget it. That was my favorite, check I've ever received. And that was kind of a cool statement coming from somebody who's accomplished that much monetarily in the sport. And, obviously in the ring as well. But as a monetary thing, he's in a class by himself.
Man, the guy's, remember that stratosphere? He's in that other stratosphere for today's standard.
Yes, he is, my man. Yes, he is. So I'm watching. Are you watching right now? It's pay-per-view UFC.
So after hearing all these Caleb Plant fans, which I'm one of them,
Yeah.
Has your opinion changed about the fight tonight?
Fuck no. Canelo's gonna hunt him down and kill him. No, I mean you're talking about a guy who's, I think he tried to get into Canelo's head, and much like when Pazienza fucked up and tried to get into Camacho's head, it backfired.
Not so much Camacho. Okay, Camacho and him, they had a real good volley. All right, they were both business. It was a business quarrel. You know what I mean? They were putting on a show. Yeah, maybe they didn't like each other, but the guy that Pazienza pissed off was Roy Jones, and
Pazienza liked to piss people off.
He pissed off Roy Jones, and Roy Jones, I think it was some ungodly low amount. I mean, like it was something like 6-round knockout, and Pazienza didn't even lay a glove on him. It was pretty brutal and embarrassing, you know.
When you look back at a career and you kind of even highlight the best parts of the superior fighters' careers, you can make a real case Roy Jones is the best fighter of all time. He won the most rounds, but when he went out and fought like Roy wanted to fight, I mean, he was untouchable. You couldn't even touch him. I think, at one point in time, he had the highest amount of rounds won, and the highest ratio of punches to being punched, meaning he punched the opponent more than he was hit, and had like the record there as well. And
I'll be as honest as I can be with you.
Yeah.
About Roy Jones being the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
No way in God's earth is that even close.
I understand what you're saying. I'm talking about mathematically. I'm talking about if you look at the math and you highlight.
No. Don't answer my question. You got to hear the next part of my question.
Okay, go for it.
And I can't explain to you why.
I know what you're saying.
I'm being as honest. I don't think so. My answer is no, he's not. And I have no case to support my answer.
It's because he only used jabs on people his own size.
He was
what a fucking freak.
He was an absolute freak. And I don't think I give him enough credit, but fuck him. I just don't put him anywhere near as best of all time. I'm not even sure I'd put him top 10, you know?
The fun thing about Roy Jones is you can actually, do hypothetical matchups at pretty much every weight class that's ever existed. You'd be like, what about Roy Jones? What about Roy Jones with Roberto Duran? Or what about Roy Jones with Mike Tyson, which he actually did? You can pretty much move him all the way over the map.
Mike Tyson would just eat him up. That wouldn't, he'd walk to him.
Yeah, I mean, that fight that they did was, I was impressed. Both guys still put on a pretty fucking damn good show at their age. That wasn't boxing. It wasn't a bunch of old men, dry humping each other. Those were two skilled boxers still, after all these years, putting on a damn fine show for the audience.
Well, I know that Roy Jones, not as significantly, but Roy Jones and Mike Tyson were very similar in their respective weights as far as the sensationalism. They take you out quick. They were something that we haven't seen. They were very rare, and they were just tigers just pouncing on their prey, and they were, really, really exciting and made for a just a hell of a night, man.
That's the crazy thing about Jones, though. You're talking about, Tyson would have crushed him. The fact that
atmosphere, I'm looking for a word of the atmosphere, a very not intense, but a very like Ali fought, and people just thought, they talked about the atmosphere and the electricity in the atmosphere. Maybe that's what I'm looking for. The electricity of those two fighters were unmatched in
Yeah,
in
you would
their
look
time.
forward. You would look forward to any fight they were doing. You'd have it marked on your calendar, and you were not going to miss those fights. Period.
Yep.
Just didn't matter. Even if Roy was going out and playing basketball before the fight, or somebody, I mean,
which he did.
Which he did, but think about the fact that this guy actually was that little and still went up to heavyweight and still was winning fucking major championship fights at a weight class that he had pretty much zero business being a part of.
You know how you know you're great is when the front page of the newspaper says Roy Jones knocked down, and then under, huh?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Roy Jones knocked down, not the result of the fight, but Roy Jones knocked down. Then underneath in smaller lettering, you get the result of the fight. He won the fight, and he just had a flash knockdown. But when that's big news that a guy gets knocked down, you know how far up the ladder they are.
Jesus Christ, you're right. I mean, you don't see that in any other sport. You don't see, hey, Jordan, misses shot but wins game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or Aaron Rodgers, throws incomplete but wins the Super. You don't. By the way, poor Aaron Rodgers, right? He's getting the shit kicked out of him now. You watching what's going on with the media?
I don't pay attention. I know he grew his hair long.
Well, you haven't been watching. So Aaron Rodgers gets COVID, okay, and then he said he had antibodies. He said that he was.
Oh, yeah, my son said that my son told me that he's gonna take ivermectin or something.
Yeah, he's gonna take. We can't even say it because YouTube will ban us for saying he's gonna take the IV. But all right, so here's the crazy part about the story. The media.
So are we banned because I just said that?
No, but we can't. Everyone should get vaccinated 75 times and wear 400 masks at the very same time to be protected from this disease that's so horrible that about 800 professional athletes have received this disease in the NFL, and not a single one of them has been hospitalized or had any serious issues. So that's the disclaimer so far. So fucking Rodgers, Devontae Adams is the best wide receiver in the NFL. Probably pretty much undoubtedly right now. He had COVID last week and he's fucking double vaccinated. So Rodgers gets it probably from his wide receiver and Rodgers is unvaccinated. So the media goes full nuts on the table to tell everybody that this guy's a douchebag. In the meantime, he's a professional athlete. He has no danger. He has no issues. There's no threat to his career. And he just got it from a guy who was fucking vaccinated. So the big story is that vaccinated and unvaccinated people get the disease, but they're just hammering the shit out of him right now. Like he's some pariah and that he's putting everybody's life in danger. But if they're vaccinated, wouldn't they not be in danger according to the fucking same people that are yelling at you? Right?
I mean, you hear it every day. And as far as Aaron Rodgers,
yeah,
welcome to life in a big city. You know what I mean? I mean, he's in podunk Green Bay, but the NFL is the biggest city in the world, and you take the good with the bad.
You take them both, and there you have.
Yeah,
the facts of life. This dude's getting the shit kicked out of him. It's funny,
and for the record, I agree with him.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, he has every right. I mean, listen, if we don't have the ability to decide what we put into our bodies, if you can, as a government, inject and squirt any old thing into people's bodies, what's next? Prima nocta back, where you first night with your wife, your government gets to come fuck your wife, or they give you a hysterectomy, or hey, we need one of your organs. There's a less fortunate family that needs your kidney. It won't stop. You don't own your kids. You don't own your bank account. If you don't own your body, you own nothing. Like you're nothing and you own nothing. So it's pretty important, to, even if you're on either side of the fence, to say, hey, this is about freedom. It's about freedom of choice. And, tell the government to go fuck themselves officially.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm sure
And then for that, we're getting kicked off YouTube.
I hope we do a good publicity.
Right? I don't care.
Fuck them.
I really don't give a fuck. I expected it. I'm surprised it hadn't happened yet. But if it doesn't, I'm trying to set some sort of record here. See if we can get knocked off in like the first 6 weeks with the least amount of listeners. How
many listeners do we have?
I don't have a clue. I'll never look. At some point.
Have you ever told anybody that we're doing this?
No, I don't want anyone to listen to this shit. It's I'd almost rather if people decide to get into it and watch it, at some point, great. But I've had some friends that say, hey, I'm listening and it's really fucking funny, and I'm like, oh, good, that's great. Please don't tell anybody that this. We'll see. We'll see how it works. But the whole reason I'm doing it is because it's fun. And it's a passion piece, and it's good to be able to catch up with you and talk some shit. And if it takes off, it takes off, and if it doesn't, then it doesn't. It gives a fuck.
Yeah, I hear you.
How are you? By the way,
this is a good. See, people used to write diaries. Now they can just make a podcast.
This is a dear diary that you don't want your kids to see. And I have 3 kids at my house right now. How the hell do you do it, man? I mean, when your kids were younger, were they just? I mean, kids are basically like I'm shocked that human beings have been able to propagate. Human beings have been able to propagate to the degree that they have, because these kids are naturally pretty suicidal. They will literally fuck themselves.
The kids over there.
Any kid, when you get
any kid. Oh, I see.
Kids
I thought you said you had 3 suicidal kids over there.
I mean, they're kids. They basically do things that are super dangerous. If you're not there, they're 1 second away from fucking themselves up at any given moment.
They're really not smart. I'm trying to be nice.
But I'm starting to wonder if it's better to let them fuck themselves up a little bit now rather than have them winning a Darwin Award when they're
to a degree. I think it is. I think that certain things you let them learn.
Let them smash their hands into a drawer, because if you stop them, if you stop them from doing that later in life, when they're bigger, taking these risks, they don't know, holy shit, things will hurt me. And that's where you get on the Darwin Award. That's when you do so stupid.
Fear is a great tool, man. You got to be scared of something. Call it caution, call it whatever you want. I call it fear, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's essential.
It's crucial. It's a biological thing that we need to survive. That goes back evolutionary from the beginning. If you understand your fear and you can control it, that's a huge key to controlling your life. I mean, it really is. Because fear, if you let it go fight or flight, sometimes it's good to flight. But a lot of times, if you control it, you can harness that into something great. You can.
Who was the guy? Who was the guy that said the only thing we have to fear?
The only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Yeah.
Jesus, dude. President. It wasn't Roosevelt.
Was it Roosevelt?
It wasn't Truman.
No, I think it was. I don't think it was a president.
It was a president. The only thing we have to fear.
I don't think it was a president.
No, it was a president. It definitely.
I'm saying no president.
Okay. Fear itself. It was a president, and I'm fucking embarrassed that I don't remember it. I thought
it was Thurgood Marshall.
No, I met Thurgood Marshall. I sold Thurgood Marshall fucking magazines as a kid. He was a great guy. I was not.
Somebody like that. I thought some. I don't know what I thought. Anyway,
Thurgood was in my neighborhood, but I didn't know this. As a kid, I'm knocking on doors selling fucking magazines. He opened up
Roosevelt, right?
Fear. Oh, fear itself is Roosevelt. Yeah, it's Roosevelt. Yeah, it's Teddy. Oh, Franklin D, not Teddy. Franklin D. Jesus, I'm ignorant. Holy shit, so ignorant.
So,
but again, president. Yeah.
But see, this is great to document this. This is great to document this because we've just discovered that Roosevelt was full of shit, because you can't fear fear. You need to fear fear.
Well, what he's saying is that just like the pandemic, right? We just went through this massive fear propaganda, thing. Is that you can, when human beings are under emotional stress and they have a lot of variables and they feel fear, a lot of human beings shut down. This is why you have to go through training in the military. This is why you have drill sergeants that yell at you, to try to make sure that under incredible pressure, you can make good decisions. And this is why when you're a fighter, under incredible duress, are you able to slow down and do what you're supposed to do, stay within the pocket. So most people right under this pressure of the pandemic have fallen apart. So what he was saying to America is, take a deep breath and don't let the fear overrun you. And so that we don't all panic, let's all stay calm. Let's get through it together. That's kind of what he was trying to get to with that quote.
All right. First of all, I want to go back like 2 minutes.
Okay.
And cut that shit out, because I realize how dumb I fucking just sounded. You can leave this in. You can leave this announcement of go back and cut it.
Dude, I just fucking forgot about Roosevelt. So yeah.
Okay, because I just sounded really, really stupid in a way that I don't want to sound stupid. So
well, go ahead and correct yourself. That's the beauty is you very.
No, I'm not even.
Well, here's the beauty of it. And very few people ever say I was wrong. So you're already in a class by yourself. So most people will just double down on their stupidity, dig into a stupider hole.
Yeah, no.
You did not do that. You admitted.
I'm done. This is the end. This is the end of my.
You're beautiful. Yeah.
This is the end of my announcement. I said something stupid, guys. I want to take it out, but trust me, it was stupid, and we're done talking about it. This is why I shouldn't talk politics.
I don't know that Roosevelt's officially politics, but channeling fear in the right way. I mean, as a fighter, there's more fear than anything, right? Would you, if you were to look back on your career, would you probably say that if you were more afraid, you fought better?
Not as a rule, but it happened.
Yeah.
Listen, I was afraid every day of my life.
Who were you most afraid of as a fighter? Like when you were going into the ring, who do you remember being like, oh fuck, this is gonna be rough?
Oh, in fights? Fights?
Yeah.
I remember being scared. I was scared a good amount. I was scared of Jonathan Reed, and I knew him really well.
I'd be scared of Jonathan Reed too. I wouldn't want to fight Jonathan Reed.
I did everything I could to get ready, and I was right that night. So was he.
You won that fight.
Yeah, I think it was the 9th or 10th round, and he was really good that night.
I mean, he's a hell of a fighter. I think that was a fight that really put you over the top too. I think a lot of people at that point was like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah, that was a good night for me.
How what did you do to celebrate that night? Do you remember? You were probably
I was banged up. I was banged up that night.
That was a tough fight. I mean, what did you do the next day? Like when you're all fucked up from a fight.
You know what I did? I went to church. It was
smart.
Sunday. I went to church, and then I don't know what I did. Probably slept, because you don't sleep much after. I didn't sleep much the night after the fights. So
yeah, I can imagine the adrenaline's flowing like crazy. You're probably reliving. What happened.
I don't know if I went to the hospital that night or not. I forget. But anyway, yeah, tough fight.
But this is why Tyson Fury is an animal. So he gets out of that fight with Wilder. What does he do? He goes up with Steve Aoki and starts singing karaoke and partying with his fucking shirt off.
Oh, sometimes you can do that.
You were able to do that.
Oh, I never took my shirt off.
That wasn't a short. that wasn't a short fight. He got knocked down twice. It was a long. It wasn't like a one rounder. You know, that was a fucking real fight. Tyson Fury's out there going, all right. Hey,
yeah, but don't you realize he's still
on American Pie?
The adrenaline is so high still that the adrenaline is high for hours.
Yeah,
he's not feeling any pain.
Yeah, a lot of people always talk about this where fighters are so tired, and then as soon as the fight's over, when things don't go well, they're exhausted on the ring. As soon as it's over, they have energy to be pissed off, energy to burn immediately. Yeah. You know, I was listening to, again, you probably don't know who this is, Bullet Valentina. Valentina is a UFC fighter, maybe one of the maybe the best female UFC fighter in history. We'll see, coming up very soon. Freak show. But she was talking about how she trained, and there was this is on the Rogan podcast. The part that I thought was interesting, so she doesn't lift weights, blah blah blah, doesn't matter, doesn't do anything with modern equipment. The part I thought was interesting is that her trainer gets a 4-hour block in the gym. She doesn't like pads. She doesn't like hitting the bag because the bag doesn't hit back. She likes to fight. She doesn't like fighting people that are out of her weight class, like men, because they won't go 100%, and she can't feel herself breaking that person. She can't just So she always can tell that the person the way out of the weight class is holding back a little bit because they're way stronger, and she can't really get a gauge of when she can break somebody her own weight class. But here's the part I thought was awesome. He doesn't do timed rounds. So in UFC, it's 5-minute round. They don't do that. Sometimes you can do an hour straight. Sometimes they'll do 3 minutes. Sometimes they'll do whatever. Mixes it up. So, because the mind, if you do 3 minute ding, 3 minute ding, the mind will mentally deteriorate to what the actual timing is.
I can see that.
So they do, they might get the gym for 4 hours. One session might be the full 4 hours. One session might be an hour. One session might be 3 hours, but that hour session might just be straight through with no breaks. Yeah. So the mind learns to continue past that timed portion. And when you watch her fight, Jimmy, she never loses gas. I mean, I've watched her fight many times and been like, holy shit, however the fuck she trains is how everybody trains, because it does not matter. She loses zero gas. She doesn't
keep the body guessing. Keep the body guessing.
Keep the body guessing, because the mind will relax at that 2 minute and 55 second. I thought that was like a really cool training technique, and I was like, holy shit, I think that's something that trainers could propagate into the boxing world, and maybe make some use of.
Yeah.
Everybody does this 3 minute round. Then your body just becomes used to it.
No doubt.
What are you going to do tonight?
I'm going to go down and start watching the fight. I had to get out. We're having a birthday party for my sister.
Yeah. What did you guys end up doing?
I just got some cake, and my mom's making spaghetti, and just hanging out, man.
Did your mom make a decent spaghetti? Decent rendition?
Yeah. She learned from my father. So
that's awesome. Put on some doo-wop music so the old man can romance the wife.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Give her a little roundabout in there, man. have a blast with the family. Tell your sister I said happy birthday. Tell your mom I said hi, and not in a weird way. Tell your pops we can't wait to get him on this podcast. Your dad is the creme de la creme for this podcast, right?
I'll try to make sure it doesn't get weird. Hey, Ma. Eric said hi. I mean, it wasn't weird.
Actually, we should bring your mom. We should bring. Yeah, it wasn't weird. And this time, it wasn't fucking weird. We should bring your mom on the podcast.
I'd be like, no, she's deathly. She has terrible stage fright. It'd be like watching the grass grow.
Oh, I don't know. I think we'd be able to pull some magic out of her.
Maybe if it was just the voice and she thought it was a telephone, and
Like
I got her to talk to the infamous Beans. Hey, talk to Beans, Ma.
Ma. Have you got to reach out to Mickey, because that's going to be a fun one too. I actually have to edit I have to find and edit your story about Mickey Ward, or you might have to retell it so that I can edit it with video and post it up on social media, because it's such a good story.
Right on.
All right, brother, man. Have a great night. Enjoy your family, and God bless, man. All right, brother.
Thanks, my man. Take care.
Bye.